So Meredith, have you ever like taken a new toilet and with a wax ring and like seated it, you know?
What are you talking about?
It's just a random question. I'm just wondering if you had put a new toilet on, because it's a really fulfilling feeling of like when you nail it the first time and you seat that toilet and it's like, ta-da!
Right, but no, I've never done that.
It's kind of like, how do you bring up seating a toilet with a wax ring into conversation? You just have to ask.
Well, I think it's okay because, we're friends. We can talk about that kind of stuff.
We can talk about wax rings and toilets. I mean, I just thought I'd ask, see if you should try it sometime.
I'll think about that, Seth. So I have a weird question. How would you talk to your best friends about baptism?
See, this is exactly where I was going. It's kind of a random question, right? Eating a toilet, like you don't just bring it up in random conversation.
Right.
Baptism doesn't just kind of come up in conversation. I wouldn't just ask any stranger about seating a toilet. You're a good friend, and so you can deal with my random questions, right? Baptism is one of those things that's personal to people and our faith, but you ask someone who you're already close to.
The other night, I went out with my best friend, and I've known her since my freshman year of college, and we talk about everything, and I have never asked her if she was baptized. She knows I go to church, but I've never, ever asked her about baptism.
Why?
Because it's weird. You don't just go up and talk to your friends and be like, hey, by the way, have you been baptized?
I gotta say, growing up in the church, being someone who's worked for churches, I haven't asked that many people, and it makes me wonder why, because it's so important to our faith and what Jesus called us to do, right?
I went to private school my whole life, and I never had to worry about my friends being baptized.
Yeah.
I knew they were all baptized. It wasn't like a typical conversation we would have with each other.
I'm sure there are other people out there watching this who have Christians maybe are watching this and going, yeah, I know the faith of a lot of my friends, but there may be someone in your life, like your neighbor that you've known for 15 years. You built a fence together. You have dinner together. Your kids have grown up together. You know how they fertilize their lawn. I mean,
Right.
You know so many things about them, but you don't know where their faith is and if they know Jesus or if they've been baptized and received that gift, right?
Right. And so I went out with my best friend, and we sat there for 2 hours eating ice cream. In the back of my head, I was like, I gotta ask her. I gotta ask her about baptism. Gotta do it. So we talked about work, and she's on spring break, and we talked about our friends and what we're gonna do this weekend. And then randomly, I was just like, hey, I kind of have a weird question for you. Like, just coming out of left field, but have you been baptized?
What'd she say?
She said, Meredith, I don't really remember.
You weren't expecting that.
I was not expecting
Or you were
that.
probably expecting a yes or a no,
And I
right?
was ready. I was ready to go with, yes, I've been baptized, or no. And then she threw a curveball at me. But then when I asked her, I realized it wasn't weird. We have talked about way weirder things. We've talked about like everything under the sun.
Toilets?
And, okay, we maybe haven't talked about toilets. It wasn't weird. She didn't take it in a weird way.
Yeah.
It was just like a normal conversation.
Cool.
And I sat the whole time for 2 hours worrying, what is my friend going to think of me if I ask her about baptism?
Would you say because you had a relationship with her already, you already had trust built in, and you could ask a weird question about, your faith or baptism, and just she could be honest with you because she knew you weren't going to judge her or anything, and you could just see where she's at.
And it was super easy because it was somebody I know. I trust her with my secrets. She trusts me with her secrets. So it just made it so much easier. And I just thought of all the other people that I'm friends with that I haven't had that one conversation with.
She's going to come to Easter service with you.
Yep.
That's already in the plan, but you guys this conversation isn't over, right? You're still talking about it.
Right.
So it doesn't happen in one quick shot.
But now that I've broken the weird barrier and it's not weird anymore, it's pretty easy to talk about.
That's awesome. Well, you may be one of those people out there wondering, how do you talk about baptism with a friend or someone who's close to you? Don't pick your random HEB bagger, but people are much more likely to talk about baptism and their faith if they already know you and there's a trust built in and someone you deeply care about. And just have the conversation about why that's important to you. If you want to know why baptism is important, what it does for you, why Jesus called us to do that, check the video that we previously posted before this in our playlist, and look ahead for more videos to come.